I'm here in Victoria in lockdown in Australia, and much of the country is also in lockdown. We're actually experiencing, after so many months here in Victoria in lockdown, a mental health crisis. So, as Christians in the church who are currently not able to go to church, it's more important now than ever to know how to edify ourselves. And the greatest way I know how, or the simplest way, is actually to pray in tongues. And I was praying in tongues just this morning as I was listening to some worship, and I thought, wow, it's not something we talk about all that often in church, and it's so important. Like in the Bible, it talks about praying in tongues being the one spiritual gift that we should all have, and it's actually the lowest of all the spiritual gifts, in that it's not for edifying the church, it's for edifying you. So by the lowest, it's actually the most accessible and easiest spiritual gift to get. So essentially, it's so essential. Essentially, it's essential. Um, we need to be praying in tongues, and when so many times in my life I've been in a lull or a down moment or a period of time where I'm not feeling connected with God or whatever it is, and it's often praying in tongues that will be the first tool in my toolkit, if you like, where it's just so accessible and it just rolls off the tongue, when often words don't. Sometimes words just don't come that easy, especially when it's like in any relationship. Sometimes we can be confused or misunderstand what the other person in the relationship is doing or thinking, or saying, and in this case we're talking about God. And so to communicate back to God, sometimes we don't know the words, we don't know what to say, if we don't understand what he's doing, how can we know always what to say back to him? So sometimes praying in tongues is the best thing that we can do, because it is a heavenly language, and it's in line and with the will of God. So sometimes what we speak in words or pray in words isn't actually in line with God's will for our lives or the world. And so it's so important to, if we can't all claim to know the will of God, but we can all pray in tongues and experience that oneness and in alignmentness that is praying in tongues, and that is the will of God. So I encourage you, if that's not something that you've done before, talk to a pastor, talk to a leader in your church, pray, get them to pray with you, and then practice it. All spiritual gifts require practice. So practice it, and over time it'll become something that you can use to edify yourself through all the seasons in life.